everybody. Oh, hey, we're on, David. Were you going to ask me a question?
I was going to say, hey, is there a way that people can write to us?
Oh, in here as a question. I would love to test that out.
Yeah, I think for people that are with us, I think if you go to the upper left, there's icons. There's one that is this group chat. The very top one, the fourth one down is Q&A. And if we're talking and you want to ask Angela a question or myself a question, just click on one of those and we'll see if it comes up and take it over from there.
All right, that sounds great. Questions here. I'm just gonna type the first message into the chat box there.
Okay, good.
And then we can mention it as I see people pop on.
Okay.
Great. So I was, I was just saying, welcome everybody. And I was going to ask the question, are you in recovery or thinking you might need to be in recovery for an addiction or someone you love? Because the topic for today is the role of positive thinking in addiction recovery. And my name is Angela Powers, and I'm here with David Essel, and we're going to talk about this today. It's a very important topic. I know, David, you've been talking about addiction in other arenas, the myths of addiction and things like that. And I bet there's a lot of myths around positive thinking in addiction recovery as well.
Yeah, Angela, for 20-something years now, we've worked in the world of addiction recovery, helping people to recover from, the most known and most obvious forms of addiction like alcohol, smoking, food, which is probably the number one addiction in America. I mean, if we look at breaking down statistically, about 90 million Americans struggle with alcohol. About 60 million Americans struggle with smoking, an addiction to nicotine. And while we don't have a statistic, if 60 to 70% of Americans are overweight, which they are, and or obese, which they are, now we're talking quadruple the number of alcoholics, quadruple plus the number of people addicted to smoking. We're talking about a huge percentage of the population. And in some very well-meaning programs and very well-meaning books, people will espouse the power of positive thinking as a way to break through your addictions. Our book, Positive Thinking Will Never Change Your Life, but this book will. The Myth of Positive Thinking, the Reality of Success, goes into great detail about the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, the power of positive thinking, affirmations, visualizations, etc. And for those who might be brand new to watching this program that Angela and I do every week, we're just going to give you the statistics. 20% of your success, let's say 20% of your success as a recovering addict of food, alcohol, smoking, power, money, greed, sex, whatever it might be, is going to be attributed to how you think. But that's it, 20%. 80% is going to be attributed to you doing what you would rather not do. So, even in the book, we talk all the times about action steps. It's not just action steps. The qualifier for an action step that's going to move you from, in this case, we're talking about addiction. Every week we talk about a different topic, but in this case, what's going to move you from being a codependent to an independent person, or someone that relies too much on alcohol or food to someone who's independent of alcohol and food. 20% is going to be associated with your thinking, but 80% is going to be attributed directly to you doing today what you'd rather not do. Like, Angela, that's the freaking key. And so what does that mean in addiction recovery? Do you not want to go to meetings? 12 steps, go. Do you not want to go to Celebrate Recovery, which is a church-based recovery program? Go. Do you not want to hire someone to help you with your recovery? Hire them. Are you afraid to say to your husband, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your wife, your best friend, your parents that when you go out now, you're not going to drink or you're not going to have dessert because you don't want to rock the boat, which is codependency as an addiction? Guess what? Rock the freaking boat, because you ain't getting anywhere by doing what you're doing right now. You got to radically change it, and baby steps ain't going to cut it. They're in addiction recovery, or making $500,000 a year or losing 120 pounds, throw that crap out the window that baby steps are better than nothing. Many times, Angela, baby steps are worse than nothing.
I know that's definitely a myth there too. Baby steps. How do you know, though, what is the next right thing to do?
Well, let's talk about addiction recovery. The next right thing to do is that which you don't want to do. The next right thing to do is to start packing all your food for the day and not going to fast food. The next right thing to do is looking at what's going to be a real pain in the ass for me to do right now, to not drink, not smoke, not eat, not be codependent. Whatever the hardest thing to do is, we've got to dive in. Some of the well-meaning statements like let go, let God, they sound so good. They sound so good. But what we found when we work with people that are struggling with addictions from all over the world, oh my God, thank you, Skype and Google Plus and Google Hangout and all these things, because we're able, I just worked with someone last night from Australia. You know, it's like, gosh, 20 years ago, we couldn't have done this. But from people all over the world, they'll say to me, well, you know, I'm saying the phrases, you know, one step at a time and, you know, let go, let God. And I'm really focusing on that. I go, you know, that's great. But has it worked? So I'm not saying don't say let go, let God. Just don't expect it to do anything. Because depending on what religion, if you have any religion, you know, probably one of the most powerful things is I'm going to turn this over to God. Well, guess what? Because you have free will, that ain't going to work. You know, I mean, maybe if a miracle happens and you say, God, I turn this addiction over to you. If a miracle happens, you'll know it. Because when you go to bed that night or wake up the next day, you will have no cravings whatsoever. You'll have no desire to be codependent. You won't never want to have another drink or a cigarette. You'll never want to eat sugar again. You know, if it's that powerful, it would work. But you know what? I mean, in our belief system, God is very equal. And he says, listen, you come halfway. You do your work, I'll do my work. But I'm not going to do all your work unless it's a miracle. So doing the work, again, Angela, going back to, does it mean getting into group, you know, support groups? Does it mean doing online support groups? Does it mean hiring someone and you're struggling with money, but you're going to find the money? You're going to work an extra job for God's sake to be free of the addiction. It'd be worth it. But we've got to get into our head. All those cute little sayings are cute little sayings. I'm not saying don't do them, but just don't expect your life is going to change.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it sounds like you know, I'm hearing you say the next right step is just make that decision that this is it. I'm doing it. And I'm going to go take some action.
Like tomorrow is not good enough. That's just a fact. If you're watching this for a reason. You say, well, I'll tell you what, you know, I've already made plans to go out with Jim tonight for drinks. But I'm going to start tomorrow not drinking. You know, right away, your subconscious mind is just one. Justification, rationalization, and denial are the three henchmen of addiction. So, well, you know what? I have to have cake tonight because it's my nephew's birthday. See, that's just poor decision making. And in the book, Angela, I tell one of the greatest stories in the world that happens to be mine. But for 20 years, I woke up every day with the same freaking statement. I had this thing plastered all over my beach house, and it was this: I am a child of God, happy, healthy, and sober today. Now, I did this for 20 years. That sounds like a great affirmation. You know, it's a beautiful affirmation. But then if it worked and if it was so powerful, why did I drink every night at 8 o'clock? I wonder. Because I wasn't doing anything uncomfortable. I was getting up saying this very cute, very fancy, very spiritual affirmation, but it wasn't doing squat for me because I wasn't doing anything that was uncomfortable. And this is what we say: positive thinking is not going to change your life unless it's a miracle. Now, when I woke up in the morning, a little fuzzy from the night before, of course, because I drank every day for 20 straight years. When I woke up a little fuzzy and I made that statement, I felt better, Angela. I felt better in the moment. I thought, yes, today I'm going to do it. Why? Because I'm a child of God. Why? Because I'm healthy. Why? Because I'm happy. Why? Because I'm sober. But then I didn't do anything else. So for 20 years, my life didn't change until I did what? Until I had this cracking experience of this girl that I was dating and we were away on vacation, and she was pacing back and forth in this house that we were in, and she was crying, and I couldn't understand what the hell was going on. And then she said, and I'm drinking away, not thinking anything of it, and she never drank. And then we sat down and had this conversation, and I said, what are you crying about? God, I've never seen you crying in the months that we've dated. And she said, well, I've got something to tell you. I said, okay. And she said, I go, well, then tell me. And she goes, well, I think when I tell you, you might leave me. I said, what could be so terrible? You know, maybe there is something that you're going to tell me that I'll leave you, but the odds are pretty small, I think. Just go ahead. So she went into this hour discussion with me. It was a monologue, Angela, about how because I enjoy drinking and she doesn't drink, that when she tells me why she doesn't drink, I'm going to leave her. And then the reason she doesn't drink is that 6 months earlier, or maybe it was even longer than that, she got out of a treatment center that she never told me about. She had a serious addiction to alcohol and drugs. Now, here's a guy dating her who has a serious addiction to alcohol. And at the end of her crying, I held her and I said, oh my God, like doesn't mean anything to me. I'm so proud that you did that. I'm so happy, but I'm not going to leave you. I went to bed that night and I woke up the next day and I said, holy crap. Holy cow. Here's a woman telling a story that I need to not only listen to, I need to do. And 30 days later, I checked into a treatment center. Now, the treatment center was outrageously expensive. I didn't have the money. I had to ask 10 people. I got rejected by 9. The very last person agreed to loan me the money at a certain interest that I had to start paying back within 30 days. And I did it. It was a massive amount of money. But that's what I'm saying to you. You know, like, what were my uncomfortable steps? Number 1, borrowing a huge amount of money. Number 2, leaving I'm an entrepreneur. Leaving my business for 30 days to go into a treatment center, which means I have no income coming in. When I come back out, I have to rebuild my business basically from scratch. You know, these are the difficult, hard decisions that we have to make to get sober, and ain't going to come from your thoughts.
Yeah, wow, that's a powerful story. And I can really relate to that, thinking that, yes, today is the day. And it feels so good in the moment, and it feels like it's really going to happen.
I
So
know.
all the requirements for that positive thinking have been met. You really feel it. It's really, it's so real.
Yes. You know, in the book, we go into great detail from the Heart Math Institute, you know, of sharing that their stories and their studies have shown that when people think positively, like I'm a child of God, happy, healthy, and sober, that there's a cascade of endorphins, dopamine, serotonin, GABA that crash into the brain, making us feel invincible, confident, powerful. We're going to do it. But they're very short-lived. So what we're saying is, don't stop your affirmations. Just stop thinking that they're going to change your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Great stuff. Hey, it's Miss Penelope. Thanks for coming and stopping by.
Oh, we have a guest
on this time.
we have a guest appearance.
Well, thanks, David.
This was a family show. Oh my gosh.
Thank you so much for this topic. You know, I haven't seen any questions come in. I don't know if the viewers can see that chat box, but we do have a chat box there if anybody has a question. And we'll keep testing that out.
Yeah.
And see if we can get that chat or that, you know, that Q&A going for, if not this time, then next time.
Absolutely. And if people have questions, you know, if you're watching this and you're unsure or you want to ask a question, but you don't, you feel embarrassed maybe asking it, email us via talkdavid.com. Now you can get our book is, for many of you already know, it hit #1 bestseller list about 2 weeks ago. So we're really proud of that. And you can get chapter 1 absolutely free at talkdavid.com. And if you want to join the course that Angela is creating for this book specifically, email us at talkdavid.com and Angela will go ahead and get you the link to be one of the beta testers. No charge in the beginning to be able to take the course.
Yep, and you will also be getting a copy of the book when you join the course as well. So that's yeah, and you'll be the first to see all the content as it comes out and as we develop it. So you'll be
Angela, tell everyone how they can get a hold of you.
You can find me, Angela Powers, at learnwithangela.com or on Facebook. So love to hear from you.
Mm-hmm. And remember, talkdavid.com, questions, comments. Do you want to find out more about the book and more about the work that we do? Go to talkdavid.com and we'll be back next week for another exciting segment.
Sounds good. Have a great week. Thanks.
Bye.